but people are wearing it. And guess what? I went to that shop because I saw that shirt, and people were like posting on Instagram them at the gym wearing that shirt. So then we started doing that.
Hey there, and welcome to a brand new episode of Delivering Marketing Joy. I am your host, Kirby Hasseman, and joining me today is a repeat rock star. Super excited to have him back. He's been recognized as a top entrepreneur, not just by me, but by Inc. magazine. He's built GreenPal to over 300,000 customers and $30 million in revenue. Ryan Clayton, thanks so much for being here.
Kirby, it's great to be here, man. Thanks for having me on again.
You bet. You bet. So I want to start sort of at the top. I mean, there's a lot of people who start businesses cutting grass, but not a lot get to where you're going. So how did you go from cutting grass to building a $30 million tech platform?
Yeah, for me, I think if you're doing business with everything you got, the reason why you're in business should evolve as time goes on. So when I first started mowing yards, I needed cash. I needed cash. I didn't want to take on student loans to go through college. So I just started mowing grass, and a little before I knew it, I was graduating college, and I had like 6 employees. And when I graduated business school, I had to make a decision: was I gonna go get a job and take a pay cut, or stick with this little lawn mowing business I had? And I didn't really want to be a lawn guy my whole life. I really didn't like the industry, to be honest, but I saw that it could be my lane, that I could actually build a real business in the humble world of lawn mowing, and made a little business plan, and over a 15-year period of time grew that first company to around 10 million in sales. And then it was acquired by a national operation that runs these kinds of landscaping businesses all over the country. And then after that, I took about a year off and decided, okay, what do I want to do with my life now? And I wanted to be like a tech entrepreneur. I thought that looks fun. I could build something that millions of people could use, and that was the idea for GreenPal. When GreenPal is like DoorDash or Instacart or Uber, but for lawn care. And so now 10 years in this business, GreenPal is now nationwide in the United States, and around 300,000 people using this platform for lawn mowing services.
Congratulations. That's incredible. And I think that when you do something like that, you're going to come into challenges, right? And one of the things I was thinking about is in lawn care, and I think similar to a lot of service-based businesses, my wife has the hospitality businesses, motels, so getting cleaning staff is sort of hers. Lawn care, I would think, would struggle with the reliability of workers. Is that true, I guess? And how do you solve that if so?
Yeah, it's tough because there's low barriers to entry in the lawn mowing business. So anybody could theoretically get into the lawn care business with just themselves and a push mower. And so on the one hand, that's great because it's accessible. It A lot of people have cut their teeth on business ownership in this industry. And I hear that story all the time. Like, my first business was a lawn mowing business, and I just kind of happened to stick with it. But um, so that's a good thing, the low barriers to entry. But the negative side of that is that nobody teaches any of us how to run a small business, and so nobody really is born knowing what customer service is, and what basic bookkeeping and invoicing means, and what showing up on time actually, why that's important, and being proactive with everything in your business, as far as communication and getting out in front of issues and problems. And nobody teaches any of us how to do any of this stuff. And so the only way we learn is just through negative interactions with our customers. And so that means that all of these customers out here have to kind of train lawn mowing services on what it means to run a business. And so that was one of the things that caught me by surprise when we started GreenPal, was that, wow, all of the things that suck about hiring a lawn mowing business are actually now our problem, the platform. And so
Yeah.
now we have to build in the safeguards and the accountability to make sure that it happens on time. And that was one of the things that caught me off guard, was that we actually weren't in the business of delivering like an affordable solution. It was really just a reliable solution that people just wanted somebody to show up on Thursday when they were supposed to, and that's kind of how the system is built. The system is built to make sure that when a consumer signs up for free quotes and they hire somebody, that the service that they pick will actually show up and be out there on the day they're supposed to be.
Yeah, that's got to be a challenge. It's, they say that it's common sense ain't so common, right? Unfortunately, right? So, I mean, obviously you've scaled this. So, how do you see authenticity and consistency playing a role in scaling a trust-based business today?
I think it's really hard to scale and grow something big if you don't have the first person kind of like scars, if you will, as if you haven't lived it. It's really hard to build something that solves problems for people who need that solution if you haven't lived and done that yourself. And so for me, that was like one of the only things that I had going for me when I started GreenPal was that I ran a landscaping business for 15 years. So I knew kind of how the industry worked. I knew what was broken about it. I knew what kind of services that consumers would be looking for. And so I was able to kind of start on first or second base. And I think no matter what kind of industry you're trying to develop a new product for, it can help you to kind of like get in the trenches of that business. Actually, I was coaching a guy who started a platform like ours, but for small pizzerias, and he actually went out and ran a pizzeria for like a year, and then worked at Domino's for another 6 months, and Pizza Hut for another 6 months. He wanted to learn the industry like from first principles. So, I think if you can spend that time, invest in that time, it can help you build something that can scale. Otherwise, you're kind of like operating on assumptions and guesses and hoping that you get lucky, which luck is not a strategy. And so, I think for me, my experience and why we've managed to scale to now hundreds of thousands of users was because at our core, we kind of knew what the problems that buyers and sellers were facing in this world and this industry, and kind of started from there and built out from there.
Yeah, it's one of those foundational principles, Brian, that I think that business owners like they know but they don't do is spending the time to really understand who you're actually selling to. Who's the target customer that you're trying to nail, and what are the problems they have, and what are you like if you know that, then it becomes not easy, but it becomes simpler to create an offering that actually serves them. So I think that's great advice. Um, I've seen that you've talked about the role of discipline. So, like, what role does discipline play compared to vision or creativity when you're trying to grow a business?
One of my favorite books that I've read in the last 5 years is Atomic Habits by uh, God, the author's name escapes me. James Clear, is that? I
Yeah, I
can't
think
remember.
that's right.
Anyway, um, and what that book is about, like his personal life and how he managed to like achieve goals like weight loss and financial goals, and it was more geared towards like his habits and routines as it related to his personal life. And I read that book and I was thinking, this also applies to your business life. Like,
Yeah.
you don't have to have any great ideas, any huge like vision. You just kind of like have to have like the good hygiene and habits and discipline on a daily basis to execute and grind, especially in those early years, grinding through what the inputs are that are going to get you where you're trying to go. So you can have like these great big goals, and that's great, but the goals almost don't matter. It's like, what am I doing today, this week, this month? What are the routines? What are the habits? For us, a lot of that kind of stuff looks like one of our big channels is local earned media. So like a Fox News affiliate in Chattanooga, Tennessee, talking about GreenPal and how small businesses are using it and how single moms are getting a value from it. That brings more people to the platform than like trying to blow out a bunch of Google ads or something like that. And so part of that is we have to email and reach out to 100 journalists a day, and have for 10 years. And so that is like an input metric that we measure that leads to the output metric of more signups in a small town like Chattanooga. So the daily hygiene, the daily routines, the daily habits of your business life matter, and that's what takes you to like a new reality 2 or 3 years from now.
I love that. It's something that I preach, and I think that sometimes, again, one of my favorite quotes in the world is the greatest distance in the world is the distance between I know and I do. Um, right? Because we all know what to do, but we don't all consistently do it.
Exactly.
Uh, And so I think that speaks directly to that. So I love it. All right, bonus question. Throwing this at you. Um, Obviously, I'm a marketing company, but a big piece of what we do is in the branded merch space. So, what's the best branded merchandise experience you've ever been a part of? And it could be either giving or receiving.
Ooh, the best branded merch. So are we talking like swag
Hmm.
or okay? Um,
Yeah,
for me, I have screwed this up so many times.
haven't we all?
And then I did it right once. And so Mark Cuban has got a quote. He says, like, don't send me your polo with your logo on it. I don't want it. And I was still doing that when we started Green Pal. We would send every single vendor some apparel, and what we realized was that, like, they didn't appreciate it. We hardly got any, like, recognition on social media for them wearing it, and, like, I had to, like, learn the hard way, and I should have listened to Mark. And then I saw something at the gym. It was a local supplements company that somehow or another integrated the logo of their supplements company with the state of Tennessee. And I started noticing, like, everybody at the gym was wearing this shirt, and it was like the state of Tennessee, and it was like their logo, and it looked good, and it was like a really nice, like, fabric, and it was like you could work out in it. And I took a page from that, and I said, okay, these guys are probably spending double what I was spending per unit, but people are wearing it. And guess what? I went to that supplements shop because I saw that shirt, and people were, like, posting on Instagram them at the gym wearing that shirt. So then we started doing that. We started really taking the time of going with a better quality material, and one that was localized. So
Yeah.
we would take the state, we would integrate the Green Pal logo with it. We would and then we would spend the time on, like, a designer to make it look really nice, and then we would spend double on the material and in the shirt. And it was actually something that I would wear. And so I guess the thing that I learned was, like, if you wouldn't wear it and you wouldn't take a selfie and post it to your Instagram wearing it, then don't waste your time on it. So it's like, either do it right or don't do it at all. And that's the lesson I learned. It was like, if you can make it local, make it about them, um, that when they get it, they realize, okay, somebody actually gave a crap about me. That's the
Right.
threshold you have to hit to execute, like when it comes to physical apparel. Like,
I couldn't agree more with everything you just said there, Brian. Thank you so much. I appreciate you taking the time. It's always good to hear. I mean, obviously, this is what we are practicing and preaching, but to hear it from someone who is an entrepreneur, who is a marketer, it's good to hear it from the pros out there. So I appreciate that from you. Thanks so much for doing this. This has been really fun. We'll have to do it again sometime, okay?
hey, thanks for having me on, Kirby. This was great.
You bet. Well, that's going to wrap up this edition of Delivering Marketing Joy. We'll see you next time.